We have 80 years to live in our life. We have 80 years in our lifetime. Don't worry and don't rush to do things that you're passionate about. Sometimes circumstances need you to do certain things that you don't like.
Hello everyone, let's welcome our another guest, Karfei, to our another episode of Mitti Ke Rang, Humans of Mitti Ke Rang. So please help me to welcome him today in our episode. So thank you so much for being a part, and we are very excited to have you with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege, it's an honor to be able to, share my story to more people and to hopefully to be able to inspire change and create transformation in people. So thanks for having me.
So I wanted to introduce a little bit about you, but I felt that, it's a very long introduction it's going to be. So I would really appreciate if you could introduce yourself as who is Karfei and what inspires you a lot. What's your inspiration?
Well, in one sentence, I am a high performance coach and the founder of Life Redesign, where I help people to create transformation in their life so that they can live a happier and more fulfilled life. So in a nutshell, this is what I do. If you want to check out what I exactly, how I do it and what I do, you can go to my website, liferedesign.co, right? I think we'll share it out after that, but that's my website. You can check it out. What inspired me the most, it's two things. Number one, it's people's transformation. Having been coaching and speaking around the world for the past 9 years, almost 10 years right now, what really kind of inspired me, that keep me, on my foot and that keep me, wake up every single day, it's that people's transformation. How, people will come to me and tell me, Karfei, like that one thing that you said has shifted my perspective on how I think life is, have shifted my perspective about what's possible, has shifted my perspective about what I can do to make my life better. So for me, that it's a big, big part. And I'm really, really grateful because I have a lot of clients and I've done a lot of coaching where, people from different walks of life in different parts of the world kind of, have that impact from me. So that kind of inspires me to keep going. And second, it's really, before this, like probably last year, I would tell you that my personal growth, that desire for growth really fills me up. But actually right now, this year, I would change that a little bit. I would say that what really inspires me to keep going, it's actually my baby. So becoming a father end of this year and having a kid really shifted the way I think about life, the way I think about myself, the way I think about the family. And every day waking up, I want to be the best version of myself, not simply because I want to be the best version for myself, but it's more, for my baby, for my kids, for my kid who will be, will be here in this world in December, and he will be looking up at me as a role model. And that kind of fills me up and kind of really inspire me to keep going and become the person that I want to be for him and for my family and for all my clients. So those are the two really big things that right now inspires me and fills me up every day.
So first of all, a warm congratulations on your child.
Thank you.
To add on this, I would really like if audience should also know that he has expertise into leadership, NLP, hypnosis, and you just name it, he has it. So he's that personality, and he's been changing lives of millions of people now. So
well,
kudos
not yet
on
millions,
that.
Tens of thousands, yes, but
Okay.
Millions, I'm getting there. I'm still getting there.
He'll achieve that soon. So congratulations on that too. So before we start, can you please walk us through your life? How was your childhood and how you came across life coaching at such an early age?
Well, I don't want to touch too much about my childhood, I think, but I want to touch a little bit about how I get into coaching and how that kind of shifted everything for me in my life. I'm right now based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So Kuala Lumpur is a capital city of Malaysia. It's probably the most prosperous, the most abundant city in the whole of Malaysia. That's like the capital. Everyone from other states kind of come to Kuala Lumpur to look for jobs, to work, and this is where all the big companies are. I came from a town that it's about 3 hours away up north from Kuala Lumpur. It's a small town. Even smaller is that I live in like a small area within that small town. So I grew up for the first 18 years of my life, not having gone to any states in Malaysia. I was being raised up in a way that, just go to school, get good grades, you will get into good universities, get good job, and then life will be happy ever after. So I thought that is life, and that was what I was pursuing for the first 18 years of my life, until at the age of 18, when I came to Kuala Lumpur to pursue my higher education to university and college. It was that time that I kind of went to a networking event, and I bumped into a CEO of a multi-million-dollar digital agency. And it was in the networking event that I bumped into him, that I met him, and somehow or other there was this chemistry between me and him. And long story short, I kind of, being young and stupid and innocent, right? I asked him, hey, can you be my mentor? And at the time, to be honest, I don't even know what's a mentor. But I asked him anyway, because he's like, oh, the CEO, and we have a good chemistry. Maybe he can teach me a thing or two, or maybe, he can help me to get a job in a good company in the future. So I asked him to become a mentor, and then he mentored me for 9 months. And at the end of the 9 months, this is where it gets interesting. So at the end of the 9 months, he actually told me, oh, Karfei, I decided to mentor you because I was actually doing a coaching certification. And as part of that coaching certification, I need to do coaching for free as part of his practical exercise and assignments and so on. And it was in that moment that I was like, oh, so what is this coaching thing? Like why do people do coaching, and why are you getting a certification in coaching? And all these kind of questions I started asking him. And then he introduced me to the whole world of coaching. And it was that, so coaching is the one where you can help people to get clarity about what he or she wants in life, and so on and so forth. And in that 9 months, I have a massive change. I went from a person who's like a hermit like a hermit who's afraid of talking to people, afraid of, really becoming the best version of myself. I was afraid to pursue goals and dreams that I wanted. And I was just, pursuing goals and dreams that my parents wanted for me, right? Study good universities, get good grades, go into big companies, and, get rich and all these kind of different things. And he kind of helped me to change that. And it was that moment that I realized, oh, wow, so this is what coaching can do. Coaching can help you to build your confidence. Coaching can help you to think in a very different way. And it was then that I decided that, let's give it a try. So I decided to take up a coaching certification. And obviously the rest is history. I've been coaching right now since at the age of 21. So right now I'm 31, so I've been coaching for almost 10 years now. And I've traveled to more than 15 countries, probably 25 different cities around the world, delivering talks, speeches, speaking engagements, training, coaching, and having clients from different parts of the world to really help my clients to become the best version of themselves. And that's how I stumbled upon coaching. That's what I'm doing right now.
So it was like a coincidence that you came across some coaching, and then you started with your career, and now it's your passion.
Yes.
So before that, you had any idea what's your passion or what's your purpose for life is?
Well, at the age of 18 at the time, my only purpose, my only goal is to score a job in Microsoft. I was very clear about that. At that age, I only know, Microsoft sounds like a big company. You know what? By the age of 30, I want to become the general manager of Microsoft. That was my goal, my sole purpose when I was 18. But obviously, I mean, don't ask me why Microsoft. I ended up not even using a Microsoft computer. I've been a Mac person for life. And obviously I've never worked in a corporate job per se. And yeah, so that was my sole purpose. But obviously, having a life coach in the form of my mentor really helped me to see what's possible, helped me to really dig deep into knowing what's that deep desire that I have that I can use to help to make the world a better place. That deep desire in me that I can use to help me to become a contributor to the society, to the community in general. And for me right now, that's coaching.
That is amazing, and that's so beautifully said. Something that I noticed about you when I was researching a little about you and what questions I should ask, I came across that you have a tattoo named Ikigai, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yes, I would really like if you could put some light on it and what's this all about?
Well, essentially, the concept of ikigai came from a Japanese concept where, in a direct translation, it means a reason for being. So what happened is that, there's this, actually, you guys should go and check it out, the book. There's a book about it called Ikigai. You can go and read it. But in a nutshell, like there's this town in Japan where people that live really long life. They live like above 100 years old. They have an average age of like above 100 for most people in that small town and small village. And some researchers became curious. They're like, why would that specific town, like have people who live for such a long age? Is it because of a Japanese diet, the whole, sashimi, raw food, clean eating, and all these kind of things? Is it because of diet? Or because they have like a healthy, exercise or whatever lifestyle and so on? And so a group of researchers went to that town and actually did a research about it. And what they found out is that the people there lives as a community. What that means is that people wake up every day knowing that they have a reason for being. In a nutshell, it's sort of like purpose, right? You have a purpose to being in this world. And for that, those villagers in that small village, their purpose is to support each other, right? And in that village, they actually have funds where people contribute a fund and people can actually use the fund for other things in their life. They want to study, they want to start a business, they want to start a small market, and all these kind of different things. And that became the sort of like the conclusion that people live long and healthy is because they have a sense of connection and they have a reason for being. They wake up every day knowing that they have a reason to live. It could be for the community, and that reason for being could be, I want to become the best mother I can be for my children. It could also be, I want to become the best farmer in this village, or I want to become the best, worker in this restaurant or something like that, right? They wake up every day having that. And in a sense, that's also how it should be reflected in our life, right? Like we are living in this world right now. On average, a man lives for about 80 years old, right? And what are we doing with the 80 years of our life? Obviously, we spend the first 20, 25 years in university or studying, right? Getting education.
Education, yeah.
And then what happened after 25 years until 80? You spend your time working your ass off to make money, to pay for, homes and houses and cars and your kids' education, whatever that is, right? But is that the only purpose of life? It is not. So we have a purpose in this world to make the world a better place. And for me personally, my purpose is to live the world a better place than when I was here in this world. So I want to live a world a better place for my kids. I want to live this world a better place for my grandchildren, right? I want to live this world a better place for my grandchildren, so that they know that, they have a safe space to live in. That's my big purpose. And I do it through coaching, right? I use coaching to help people to become the best version of themselves so that they can contribute to the world in the best way that they can, in the best possible method that they know, right? So that's my purpose. That's my ikigai.
That is amazing. And how you said that, yeah, I want to create a best place for my children, my grandchildren. So it's like leaving your, making your presence such like the future doesn't suffer.
Yeah, very important.
So I just wanted to know, as a person, and as like I felt while reading the Ikigai book, and I came across the book only when I started reading about you. So I read a little bit about that book, and I was a little confused that what exactly does it differentiate, if you can differentiate between the passion and the purpose in life. So is it like interconnected, or how we can find it and how we can work on it?
Well, I think one thing that people misunderstood is that people think that your passion is your purpose. And that's not entirely true. So let's break it down, right? Passion and purpose. So we talk about purposes now, and purpose essentially is a reason for being. It's having a purpose to live, having a purpose to exist in this world, right? So in a way, you can call it the calling, right? Like each of us have that calling, right? Whatever that calling is in your life. But passion, if you think about it, and if you actually go and look for the definition of passion, passion actually is a form of feeling and emotion. It's the inner drive that drives you up, the inner drive that kind of gives you that sense of fulfillment, right? So passion it's in energy and emotion, right? So it's not something that's, how do you call it? It's not something that's tangible, right? In a sense, it's emotion, it's something that's inside of you, right? So essentially, your energy will fuel your purpose. So your passion is the fuel to work on your purpose, right? So my purpose is to leave a world a better place. My purpose is to be able to help people to become the best version of themselves. Now, what fills me up is coaching. So what I do then is I use coaching that kind of fills me up every day to drive myself towards creating and enabling that purpose, right? Think about it, just like rockets, right? For rocket, it's the purpose of a rocket is to go to the outer space, correct?
Yes.
That's the purpose. But what drives them to be able to launch and go towards their purpose is the fuel, right? Is the energy, is the passion, right? Is the fire, right? So it's the same for us, right? So what happens is that we need to get clear about, you know what? We not get clear, but we need to decide, what do I want to achieve in this life? What's my purpose in this life? And then once you have set that up, then you go into looking at things that you are doing in your life and which one really drives you, right? Which one really gives you that energy, that power, that motivation to wake up every day and do more of that so that it can contribute to achieving your purpose. But now, I want everyone who's listening, life is not as easy as finding your passion, working on it, achieving your purpose, and life will be happy ever after. Realistically speaking, sometimes life doesn't work that way. We have bills to pay. Some of us have parents to take care. We might have really old parents who can't work anymore, and upon graduation, we need to go and look for a job that pays you so they can pay the bill, you can pay, you know, to support your parents and so on and so forth, right? So then how do you balance this off? My opinion is, realistically speaking, number one, it's important to have a purpose in life, whatever that purpose is. Number two, depending on your circumstances in your life, you can either find one thing that you're really passionate about, go all in, and hopefully it will make money for you so that, you know, you can live a good life. But the other side of the coin, if you can't go full in on a passion because you're not sure if it's gonna, you know, make you money, if you're not sure if it's gonna succeed and so on, my advice is work on a corporate job. Go and get a job that pays your bill, that allows you to create a better quality of life, and work on your passion projects on the side. We have 80 years to live in our life. We have 80 years in our lifetime. Don't worry and don't rush to do things that you're passionate about. Sometimes circumstances need you to do certain things that you don't like. But that doesn't mean that you cannot do things that you're passionate about on your weekend. That doesn't mean you cannot start a small business on a weekday's night to kind of kickstart your passion project, right? So that's my caveat to this whole thing about passion and purpose. Because sometimes, you know, this whole passion and purpose thing might sound too idealistic. And I've been working with a lot of people, and I know life circumstances will come in, right? Family, personal issues, whatever that is. So you have to take care of your life circumstances so that you elevate your quality of life and then work on your passion projects one step at a time.
That is really amazing how you have stated like how you can work on it even if you don't have time or you want financial assistance. So that's amazing. But I have some question that is like how we can find a purpose in our life.
Well, there's two ways to go about it, right? Number one, it's first things first. I don't like to use the term find your passion or find your purpose. Now, let me ask you why, right? Now, think about it. If everyone who's listening right now, just think about this, right? Finding your passion and finding your purpose is like treasure hunt. It's like a game of treasure hunt, right? Like, oh, I have to go through these obstacles. I have to look at this thing. I have to go through this maze. I have to go to this lake. Oh, and then I found that treasure box and I open it and I get all the rewards and life will be happy ever after. But life doesn't work that way, right? Life has no one set of treasure box waiting for you somewhere around the corner to be found. But what's important is what I call a decision. So in order for you to want to have a purpose and passion in life, the goal is to decide. We are living in a world right now that is so abundant. We have information at the top of our fingertips. Our smartphone will give us more information that our parents have in their lifetime, right? Now, but the thing is, when we have so many things, people are often very, very confused.
Yeah.
They're like, I have a gazillion things. Now what should I do? And then people start procrastinating. And then people start, oh, I'm not too sure if I want to do this. I haven't decided. Oh, I'm afraid if I do this, I don't like it. What if I do that and I don't like it? So how do I decide? The point here is to decide. Looking at all the things that you have, pick one and do it. See, the thing is, you won't know if you like something or if you don't like something if you don't decide to do it. The only way for you to know if that purpose, that passion, it's really your purpose and your passion is simply by doing it. Like there's no better way, there's no magic pill, there's no magic cure except for deciding to do it. So my lesson here to a lot of people, young professionals, people who come to me for coaching and so on, all of them are just paralyzed by a lot of information and opportunities, and they did not decide. So my role as a coach is I force them to decide and then pivot as they go along. When you decide, when you go all in and then you kind of try it, didn't work, then you change, then you move on to another thing, right? That's the key. The key is to do it, to experience it, and then to see if you like it or you don't.
Okay, so without this, like, decide to do it and then decide you like it or not, rather than first deciding that, yeah, I like it, now I'll do it. That it might, confuse. And this is what actually keeps a lot of people behind from others. So in your transformational journey with so many people till now, what one major problem you saw, one major mindset you saw, and why was that?
You mean a major mindset that stops people from being the best version of themselves?
Yeah.
Wow, one.
But majorly, which is that mindset?
I think one major, I think that would be the feeling of not being good enough. Very often, when we want to do certain things, there's always that voice at the back of our head that tell you, like, why are you to do this? Like, why would people listen to you? Like, who do you think you are? Like, hey, come on, you don't even have certain certifications. Oh, you don't have experience. Oh, you don't have this. Oh, you are too young. There's always that voice at the back of our head that tells us that, oh, you're not good enough to do certain things. And what happens then is that we, being human, our brain will go and find evidences to support that belief that we're not good enough. We'll go and find, the other day when I give a talk, people don't listen. Oh, when I was talking to my friend, they don't even want to listen to me. Oh, when I was talking to my parents, they don't even want to support me. If people that's closest to me doesn't support me, does that mean that I'm useless? Does that mean I'm not good enough to do certain things? We will find all these evidences to support that belief that we're not good enough. And then on top of that, with the rise of social media and internet connection, we look at successful people on Instagram, right? We scroll, we're like, oh, wow, this person is so successful. This person is so amazing. This person is so rich. Oh, I'll never be able to become like them. I'll never be good enough to do what they are doing, right? And that kind of piles up in your head and you will always never be good enough. So one of the things that I do in coaching is to help people to level up their self-confidence. I help people to really look at their whole self, because one thing that everyone needs to realize is that there is no two Khushi in the world. There is no two Karfei in the world. We have ourselves here because we are right now the best version of ourselves in this present moment. We can always grow, we can always improve. Now the question is, what do you want to do with your best self in this present moment right now? You can either get paralyzed by not being good enough, or you can start doing something small to prove that you are actually good enough to do something, right? So for me, that is probably one of the biggest things that I've seen in a lot of clients and a lot of people that I've spoken to across different ages, across different age group. It could be someone that is young, like 20 years old, to someone who's like 50, 55 years old, who also have that fear of and believe that they're not good enough to do certain things, right? So that for me is one of the biggest ones.
All right. So because we have to wrap up because of the time limit, so I have few last questions to ask. The
Sure.
first thing I want to know that what advice you would like to give to your younger self if you get the opportunity to do that.
Oof. My advice to my younger self is, I have two. One of them is learn how to sell yourself. One of the things that I noticed is that a lot of people don't like to talk about their own achievements. And again, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, right? So, but the thing is, I've seen so many people that don't dare to talk about themselves or talk about their own achievements, that it kind of undermines what they can actually do. It undermines what they can actually contribute to the world, right? And I learned that the hard way, because in coaching, I thought that, you know, as long as I become a great coach, clients will come to me. But that's not the case. You can be the best damn coach in the world, but if you can't sell yourself to your potential client wouldn't know that you exist. And it's the same thing for everything in life. Your work, your career, relationship with your parents, your relationship with your children, everything requires you to sell yourself to other people. So that's the first advice, to be able to sell yourself to more people. And my second piece of advice is that learn how to speak from a very early age. I only learned about speaking when I was 19. When I get into coaching, that's when I learned how to speak. If I would tell you right now, Khushi, before 19, I was that guy who doesn't even dare to raise up my hand to ask a question in class. I was the guy who doesn't even dare to walk up to the front to talk to the lecturer in class. But right now I can command a stage of 2,000 people. I can get on stage anytime I want to be able to deliver a speech. And that has been massively life-changing for me, because that ability to speak confidently has given me so many opportunities in life. And if I were to advise my younger self, that would be that. Learn how to speak at a younger age.
That is amazing. And the second one I could really relate to, because even I was that kind of child who couldn't go out to the teacher and ask a small question that like doesn't even matter that much, but still I couldn't go to her and ask this particular question that, yeah, I'm facing problem. So my next question would be that what advice would you like to give to the people who are suffering because of the COVID-19? They are suffering from anxiety, mental depression, having suicidal thoughts nowadays. So is there any advice that you would like to give to them?
Well, so first things first, it's if any of you are experiencing suicidal thoughts and also depression, my advice is go and look for help. Now, some of you or any one of you who's listening and you have this and you might be afraid to go to look for a therapist or a counselor to speak, I want you to think of therapy and counseling in a different way. Now think about this. If you want to live a healthy life, if you want to have a fit body, what do? We go to exercise, right? We go to the gym, we build muscles so that our body kind of get fit and we can look better. Now my question to everyone who's listening, what do you do then when your mind is tired? You should do the same thing. You should go to the gym so that you exercise your mind and exercise your thought process. And the gym in the world right now for your mind is therapists, counselors, psychologists, or coaches. These are the people that can help you to change the way you think about certain issues. But obviously, one thing I study psychology, so I need to give this piece of, advice and kind of like disclaimer is that if you have severe depression, severe mental health issues, you need, and it's caused by hormones, then you need to go and see psychiatrists. You need to get medicine so that you can regulate your hormone so that you can function properly, function in a better way, better state. And again, this is not your fault. Chemical imbalances is nothing to do with our fault. It's not our fault. It's just how, parts of our body and our brain is being born. So I advise everyone who's listening, if you are having mental health challenges, go and look for help. Go to the mind gym, which is counselors, therapists, and so on, to exercise your brain so that your brain can, kind of like work out and become a better version of themselves, right? So that's the first one for people who are really facing mental health issues. The second piece of advice in general for people who are kind of like being affected by these crises, I first want to say that I hear you, because I was going through a lot in the first few months of the crisis, because my business literally went from the best time in my life in revenue wise to almost negative. That's what happened to my business. All my training, corporate trainings, speaking engagements, everything got canceled. And there goes my income, right? So I feel you. But one piece of advice I want to give all of you is that anything in the future will be better than where we are right now. Essentially, when we are able to go through this, when you're able to go through this hardship, everything in the future will be better. Everything in the future will become easier. Everything in the future will become something that it's, more enlightening for us to keep on going in our life. So that's my one piece of advice. So if you need, when you're going through these challenges, just take that piece of advice and keep, thriving in the next 6 months to come. I hear you. It's really difficult times, but also remember, one more advice is that it was in difficult times that great characters are built.
Yeah, so
and this
true.
is the time for us to build our character so that we can use this great character in the future to become the best version of ourselves.
So true and so beautifully said. I'm so moved with the words you just said. So at the end, do you have anything that you would like to give advice to people, young generation, or any last words you would like to share with us?
Well, I think since we talk about the whole concept of ikigai and passion and purpose, I just want to kind of really recap what I talk about in my TED Talk called Multi-Passionate, and I think all of you should check it out. Essentially, I believe that human beings on Earth, we are multi-passionate. What that means is that we can have multiple different passions that we enjoy in our life, in different stages of our life, right? Right now, I might be enjoying coaching and speaking. I don't know, 10 years later, when I'm rich enough, maybe I will enjoy totally different things that will give me more fulfillment in life. I don't know what that is right now. But when that comes, I will embrace it. And I want everyone to remember that we are all multi-passionate. What that means is that sometimes it is okay for us to be passionate about one thing and then move on to the other thing. There's nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, that is actually the purpose of life, to experience different things in life that brings out the life in you. So I just want to highlight that, because I don't want people to think that you only have one purpose, one passion for like 80 years of your life or 100 years of your life. You don't. You can change. It can change, and it is okay to change. That's one of the biggest advice I want to give to everyone. And make sure that you go to YouTube, look for Multi-Passionate Karfei, then you'll be able to find my TED Talk, and I give a really deep explanation about that, and you'll be able to get a better understanding of my concept of multi-passionate in the world.
Yeah, it is amazing. Thank you so much for being part of Mitti Ke Rang and giving me the opportunity to be your interviewer. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for having me, Khushi. And for all of you who are listening, thank you so much for really listening. And if you want to, you can check out my website. You can also follow me on Instagram Coach Karfei. That's my Instagram handle. Or you can also go to Facebook and like my Facebook page, Coach Karfei as well. Then you will be able to find me, my face, and my company logo on my Facebook page. So it's really an honor to be here, to be able to share my story, to be able to hopefully motivate change and inspire change in all of you young people in the world.
Thank you so much. And we'll be putting this all in the description as well. So thank you so much again.